Hola mi gente. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to We the PoC and TTRPG. Thanks so much for joining us for Big Bad Online, and thank you everybody in this panel. You'll get to meet them in a second. Like I said, this is We the PoC and TTRPGs. I'm your panel moderator for this evening, day, time zone, whatever we're going to call it. Morgan Nunzio, or Mo for short, they she pronouns. But this isn't about me. Let's get to our panelists. Lonzo, start us off, please.
Sure. How we doing, everyone? My name is Lonzo Gonzo, pronouns he, him. I do a whole bunch of TTRPG stuff. I'm on Rolling These 20s, and I do a whole bunch of charity events. So, yeah, thank you.
And Fair?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Fair, pronouns she, her. I do things. I am also a cast member on Rolling These 20s. I've also been seen on Chaotic Tiefling ATL, The Greater Restoration Crew, Fortnerd.com, bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Hi.
Raven. Go ahead. Raven.
Me. Oh, me. Me. Already.
Sorry, the lineup changed. I'm just going down the line.
It's all good. It's all good. Hi, I'm Raven. Pronouns they, she, they. Please use them interchangeably. I'm actually probably the newest one in the TTRPG stream space here. But after years of not really being able to set up tables, now I'm sitting at a bunch of tables, and I do things like the Eldritch Tide and the Fifth Horseman and Urban Shadows with Calamity. So come check us out.
Or Calamity, either or.
Oh no!
I'll go ahead. I'll take it. Yeah. Hey everyone, my name is D'Angelo Murillo. Pronouns he, him. I am a game designer, a writer, a professional storyteller, and an event organizer, trying whatever ways I can to bring more inclusivity and diversity to our geeky community. And thank you for having me.
And not Calamity, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Calamity, pronouns she, they. I am a content creator and game developer who has recently moved into the TTRPG space. Fairly new to it, but while I've done more performing, I am now moving into some writing as well, because I am a narrative designer, so that's been lovely. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, thank y'all for joining us here. We're just, excuse you, dog. She decided to finally wake up. So let's go ahead and just dive right in, since we only got a little bit of time, and I love just talking to other folks in regards to their lives in general. So how did y'all get into TTRPGs? How did it all start for y'all? Like, anybody? We're not going to go in a certain order. We're going to popcorn this. So anybody who wants to go first, please do so.
I can.
Yeah, go Fair, please.
I got into it honestly just a couple of years ago. I just had a bunch of friends who would talk at me about them, and so finally at one point I was like, what even is this? Okay, what is this? You guys keep talking about it. It seems like you're having fun, and I at least want to understand it. I had like sort of like a vague knowledge of what D&D specifically was, just because of like, pop culture references and the like. But it never seemed like it was for me as a Black woman. But my friends kept talking to me, so I was like, okay, fine. Like, how do I get into this? A friend offered to run like a game for me so I could see if I liked it. And I was like, when I first played, I was like, oh, I get it now. I get this now.
I started in 2017. One of my friends that I used to work with, who was like become a really good friend of mine, invited me over to a table, and there were two other people of color there, including myself, so a little diverse. But I didn't know about it. I thought TTRPG and D&D was like the epitome of geekdom, and I just wanted to like stay underneath that radar. But the bug hit me, and from there it was like getting into CR, watching people on Twitch, getting to learn there are different types of tabletop games other than Dungeons and Dragons. So Vampire the Masquerade, Kids on Brooms, Monster of the Week, which is probably my favorite system, honestly. And then also realizing that there are other people out there who look like me, who sound like me, some other Latina, your other BIPOC people out there, which luckily I've gotten to play a whole bunch of games with and have a whole bunch of great memories.
I'll go next. Yeah, mine was. I've always been a geek, like my whole life. You know, getting into Legend of Zelda, getting bad grades, and being forced to go to the library to pick out a book, and I couldn't play video games until after I finished that book, and just so happened to be Homeland by R.A. Salvatore, of Drizzt, or Drizzt, and that started me into full blown fantasy, loving it. And then, of course, like Lonzo said, tabletop RPGs was like the epitome of like being geeky. You know, you see it in all mainstream media. So sure enough, 2008. I got rejected from every group I tried to apply for. So I went ahead and took my whole courtesy clerk grocery store paycheck and got the Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Hand Guide, and Monster Manual, and just like sat down and studied hard until I could be a Dungeon Master myself. And it's been awesome ever since. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the way I got into it is about, well, I've always loved fantasy. I used to get in trouble for reading books during school. Like I used to get detention because I was too busy reading during class. So that's where my like love for like storytelling and narrative and lore started. So then I was a theater kid. So then later on, when I was invited to my first table by a friend, I just sort of clicked, like those two loves like suddenly came together. And yeah, that was about a year ago that I first did my first game. Yeah, like about a year ago, like this month.
Are you kidding me? Whoa,
No.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, actually, the game I played with you was literally like my third game.
I literally would have never guessed because we just played a game together.
Yeah, we just played a game. And like, I loved your character. Absolutely loved your character.
Thank you all. So it's been lovely ever since. I love it so much.
Oh.
So for me, I actually was the weird kid that used to play King Krusty the High Orc in my bedroom, like playing pretend. I'm not even kidding you. Like I would write stories about this as a kid, and like I never really knew what Dungeons and Dragons was growing up until like one of my friends who was my age, I think I was about like 8 or 9, was talking about playing it. But I was never invited to the table. So in high school, when there was a Dungeons and Dragons club, I was like, yes, this is my chance. And like I walked in and it was a room full of white dudes who looked at me funny. And then I sat down and they killed my character first. So I didn't play for a long time. I dabbled here and there, like little one-off games that were supposed to be a campaign and never were. But I only really sat down to play within the last 4 months. So I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know all the rules for everything, so y'all can at me or cancel me or do whatever. But I have fun regardless, and like just my inner geek and my ability to storytell and like come up with these big ideas has just really hit home with me, and I'm never going back. Y'all can't make me.
I love
Raven.
that. Also, you don't have to know the rules for everything. It's
I was about
fine.
to say,
Yep.
the rules literally don't matter. Like,
Yeah.
no one cares.
They don't.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do want to. I think Jonea Kemper's and like she did panels earlier, but I want to get you in touch with her because she's also talked about like I grew up doing this. Like I played Magic, like I played make believe in my bedroom, like sort of things. And she actually wrote her thesis on it. So like I will point you that later. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. So anyways, see, I'm supposed to be your moderator. Yeah, I'm drawing you off.
Professional.
But yeah, totally. So we're gonna have the highs and lows of high school football. No, I'm kidding. The highs and lows of us playing are playing as well. So real quick, I just want to know what has been a high so far. Like, what have you seen? Like, just as a good this has been good for me to do these things. We're not going to talk yet about the positives that you're doing right now or in the future, but like, what in your past, like, what are the good things that you've seen from TTRPGs, like being who you are and seeing what you're doing and doing what you're doing?
I think it's been for us, as like Raven said, that horrible story of going in and then having a bunch of people kill your character because you're different from everyone at the table. But seeing people like Raven just decide, you know what, this is something I want to do, I'm going to make this setting myself. I'm going to take this time to find people who look like me, who sound like me, who share experiences like me, and do that. And that's how I joined Rolling D20s. Like, I was just watching their stream. They're doing Vampire Masquerade Philly by Night. I'm like, oh, I know Philly. Like, I know this area. Like, I live not too far from there. So they're spouting out these places, and like, yeah, like, I know exactly where they're at. And then they came to me, it's like, hey, look, we've seen you here. We've seen stuff that you've done. Like, do you want to join us? And that was such an honor. It's going on 2 years this fall that I would be with them. And honestly, it's been really, really good. Like, they're like family. I've gotten lucky to meet a good amount of them, including Fair. And I can't imagine where I would be now if it weren't for them. Because you take those experiences from those other people. They may not be you. Like, not everyone at the table is Latina. Not everyone at the table is Black. But you take their experiences and you put them into your character. It may not be that character you're playing. It may be a character you play a couple months down the road, your next session, or a story idea that you have for another setting that you want. Like, oh, I'm going to take this element of this particular character and put them in here, because that's how we create diversity. That's how we make our tables inclusive, our stories inclusive, make sure that there's a little bit of everyone within it.
Jumping off of that, because you made a good point, Alonso, just about like, for me, this might be like a surprise, but like, in a way, for me, the pandemic helped me expand my horizons when it came to TTRPGs, because it got me into watching people on Twitch, and from there it kind of just like snowballed into like me being on Rolling D20s and doing all of these amazing shows with these amazing people. And it's just like, I truly never would have done that if I wasn't bored at home. Like, and I mean, and like Rolling these 20s, like what Lonzo said, like has been an amazing experience for me, because just before joining them, really, like for me, there were very few shows where I saw people who look like me. Like Rivals was the thing that got me on Twitch in the first place. And then from there, just joining these different communities, I got to meet Dimples, I got to meet Lonzo, and then eventually I was invited to play. Like, I wasn't even looking to be on a show. I did a charity thing, and then the next thing I know, people were in my DMs. And it's been amazing. Like, it's been fantastic. Just meeting a bunch of new people, and especially, again, people who look like me or have similar experiences than I have. Like, it's been very rewarding for me. And it's really helped me get through some tough times, I will be very honest.
Yeah, jumping off of that, I still run a website called thegeeklife.com, and for years and years, I would try to uplift as many creatives as possible that I felt were not being properly respected or appreciated for all their hard work and talent. Usually, those were BIPOC or LGBTQ, like cosplayers, artists, writers, all this sort of stuff. So I would always interview them and everything like that. And I wanted to always take it a step further to help our, like, not just Arizona creative community, but further than that. But it was so hard to do so because locally it's hard to find like-minded people to be able to help you out, especially if, especially BIPOC and all that kind of stuff, people. So I had to found myself code switching so much and trying to please the people who would work with me in order, and not to rock any, waves or anything like that, rock the boat or whatever. So then it was, like Fair said, when the pandemic happened and COVID hit, one, my website was all about conventions. So when that shut everything down, I was like, oh my God, I'm over. Like, this is it. But then it opened a whole new gateway to everyone being online and normalizing Zoom and all that kind of stuff, to the point where I found way more like-minded people and be able to organize events that were 3 times better and did a 200% more, positivity and fundraising and all that kind of stuff. So those are some big W's for the past and TTRPGs and all that kind of stuff, to be able to be with great people and do wonderful things with this geeky hobby and all that. So yeah.
And I'll say one of the things that I've really noticed in my brief time actually immersing myself in this space is there are a lot of people who are really like true allies, not just allies for the sake of saying that, you know, Black Lives Matter and stop Asian hate and all that other fun stuff. Like I have met industry professionals who are genuinely like, I know I'm a white guy. Tell me how to fix this. Tell me how to add more diversity and inclusion in these spaces because I can do that. So just being able to like talk to people who genuinely care about equality, you know, because I'm an activist too. And that is something that I take very, very, very seriously. And that is something that I will not sleep on. And I don't care, like, if there are $1 million deals, like, if we're not on the same page and our values do not align, I'm not working with you. So just really being able to see active, actual allies really using their voices to lift marginalized people in this space, for me, is a massive win because you don't really see that often in the video gaming side of Twitch and things like that. So I'll say that's a massive win that I've had the pleasure of witnessing.
100% agree. It's like seeing people not only just talk about it, but actually be about it. Whereas like there are a lot of companies and people who will just talk about it. And then when something happens, it's like they'll talk about it and be about it when like during certain times of the year, but they're not about it all times of the year. And it's like, okay, I could tell you're just doing this for money.
Yeah.
Or views or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas like a true ally, to your point, Raven, is always reaching out, always trying to, you know, educate themselves and fix like systems that are broken and all that good stuff. So I absolutely agree. I have seen a lot of wins in that column when it comes to TTRPGs.
Mm-hmm. I would say that I've been very fortunate to be in spaces that were, and honestly, it's been a lot of like queer spaces, which is cool, that I've been introduced to through tabletop. And I think that is what helped me get into it, because not only were they accepting of like that side of me, but also like my neurodivergencies and seeing that I needed to like take a moment sometimes, or just giving me the space to like think. I've seen a lot of that. And even when I was in theater, I didn't get that all the time, you know, rarely, unfortunately. But this is truly a space I've found, or at least the people that I've met, because I've seen a lot of the problems, unfortunately, but I've had the honestly honor of experiencing just so many good groups and tables, and like it's just very nice to know that like these people are out there, because before I was kind of a internet ghost. Like I never revealed like who I was. I always had like usernames and like never connected it to myself, because I was afraid of, if people knew what I looked like, would they still want me there? So pandemic happened, actually started being on the internet and found this space, and it's been wonderful.
I have to say that one of the things I love about the community, for the most part, is just like, I think the majority of the people in this community are very much like open arms, like, I love this, I want to teach you how to play this so you could maybe love it too. Like I've literally never met anybody who tried to close the door in my face. And where I know that there are people who are out there, but I've been fortunate enough, like Calamity said, to not have really had to deal with those people, because everyone that I've met has been just super, like, have embraced me and invited me to things. And it's been an honor, honestly. Like I literally can't imagine where I would be right now if not for these people.
Mhm.
All right. And with that, sorry if you saw my rolled shake and my dog is like doing the cat thing, rubbing against everything. But what are some like negative things you've seen, like maybe tokenism, or like obviously we've had our allies and we probably have seen our allies. But what are some negatives that you've ran into and are just in the tabletop communities?
So I will say, tokenism is hard, right? Because sometimes you have to be the first BIPOC person to sit at a table to create that change. And I think tokenism in and of itself is the intent or the mindset behind inviting somebody. So I will say I just got cast on at a table that was predominantly white. But when I was approached about it, that was brought up, right? And it was brought up in a way that was like, listen, Raven, I know how this looks. I want you to know that that is not my intent. I really want to fight for inclusion and diversity. So if this is something that you don't feel comfortable with doing, let me know, right? That removes token out of it, because at that point you're actively trying to shift the space so that way it works for more than one community. But I have unfortunately seen and been offered roles as the diversity hire, right? And they want me to do it, and they're not even going to pay me for it. So the answer right out the gate is no. If this might not be a popular opinion, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you are going to tokenize me, you better come out your pocket with some money.
Yes.
Buku bucks. Because if I'm your diversity hire, you are going to pay me for it.
Yes.
I have to agree with that, because I think when it comes to a diversity hire, like, there are so many different aspects of that job that, like, you already know you're gonna have to do. Like, there's so much more work that you're gonna have to do. Like, you're gonna have to sit there and potentially educate people. You're gonna have to, like, or even just, like, unfortunately, I mean, we all know there are situations where we have to diminish ourselves in order to get by and through certain scenarios. And it's like, that's work. If I have to do emotional labor, then you have to absolutely pay.
Yes.
Like, it's not free, honey.
It's
not. One of the things I love is that, like, so like I said before, I've had this website that I've ran prior to getting into, like, TTRPG scene and all that kind of stuff, and I experienced that a lot. But it was one of those things where it's like I walk into a room and I look left and look right, and all the other press are like white, and I'm like the only one who's like brown, and I'm like, all right, clearly they needed a brown guy, but they are paying me, so I'm going to take this money, but I see what's going on here. And then, with that space, being given that opportunity, I never ever squander it, because I always try my best to almost like strike back at everything, where I try my best to outshine everyone else in the room, so that you're so good that you cannot be ignored. So even though it's like, all right, we invited them to this space because we needed a brown guy, but oh man, they are actually doing way better than everyone else. So now let's go ahead and bring him back a bunch of times. And like, it's like, and I feel like it's one of those things where that a lot of other people in the space who are lighter skinned, they have this privilege and they take it for granted, where they're like, oh, I just get these opportunities for, like, it's whatever. And then meanwhile, for people like us that we have to fight tooth and nail even to get invited to the seat at the table, we can't squander those opportunities, and we have to like do whatever we can to make sure everyone knows we are just as worthy, if not more worthy, than some of the other people that are already in the scene and all that. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, to go on that, like, that's what I was going to say. That's how you combat it, is you outshine. You outshine. You say that, hey, I'm your diversity hire, I'm your token, and you prove them wrong. It's like, no, I am at this table. You brought me here to be your diversity hire. Well, then you know what? I'm going to be better than anyone else that you ever could bring at this table. And that's how you do it.
But I can honestly see, like, a negative aspect to that too, because, like, in a perfect world, which that's a whole different discussion.
Video game.
Like, that's a video game, yes. I mean, we shouldn't have to work twice as hard for half as much. You know what I mean?
But you know what? Enough people are going to see it. And then that's what I said beforehand. Like, we go ahead then and we start to get those opportunities, like D'Angelo said. Or we could either go ahead and start our own thing.
That's true.
We bring on, the people who look like us. That's how we get past it. We make our own space.
We make our own table, and we make our own seats for that table.
And then we do it better. And then people will realize that they're sleeping on us. And then it's like, well, my rates went up. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
exactly.
Or they get
lose.
Or they get mad about it. It's one or the other.
And that's fine too, because you could cry your salty tears while I'm over here winning.
But thank you for letting me live rent-free in your head.
Thank you. Exactly.
I have more to say, but, like, Calamity, do you want to add in?
Oh no, go ahead. I'm just enjoying this.
Yeah, it's the same thing though. Is that, like, it's an unfortunate reality. No matter how much we want to, like, hope that it's not actually set up like this, but the system is broken and it's very slighted, and it's it's an uphill battle constantly. No matter what space we get into, we just have to work way harder than everyone else. But it's like Lonzo had said, the moment they let the door in even slightly, take every advantage that you can and make it like worthwhile. And then the moment that you get the chance, invite the next person in who also needs this opportunity, that next BIPOC person, whether it be from your community or someone else. That way we are the ones that begin to break the wheel, break the cycle, upset the balance and all that kind of stuff. Because especially when these companies who their bottom line is that they focus on the money. And if we're able to bring in more money, then it's like, all right, we want more of you. How do we do this? And it's like, well, you should talk to Lonzo. And, and then Lonzo says, you should talk to Fair. And then it all continues on, which sucks that we even have to do this, but we got to do what we got to do sometimes in certain spaces. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this for people holding up the door, and they're going to get a little shy. I already saw the face. Calamity does that. Calamity's the first person who's like, I had this opportunity here. This is awesome for me, but you know what? I'm going to hold the door open and let everyone else know about this opportunity. Let them know this is what I had to do about it. And we'll just let people through that door. Like the minute that door opens up, people are going to go through because of Calamity. And I try to emulate that. If I see an opportunity, I'm going to put it out there for someone else. I think that's what we do at Rolling These 20s a lot, Fairs. Like as soon as we see one opportunity, we let everyone else in the group know. It's like, hey, you could do this, you could do that. We could put and even our wins. Hey, I have this awesome thing going in here. Mm-hmm. We're all celebrating it, because if you don't celebrate that one person, even it could be like, hey, I'm getting on this one website, or I'm speaking on this podcast, or I'm speaking on this panel. You know what? It diminishes the work that we're doing.
Yeah, the support is a very important aspect, and I think people remember that when you hype them up or gave them support in moments that are challenging or in moments that are exciting. People remember that. And I mean, to your point, Lonzo, with Rolling These 20s, y'all are pretty much the first people I go to whenever something happens to me. I'm just like, oh my God, you guys, you won't believe what happened, because you're in my family, and we have that rapport where we can share things with each other, and it's not a tear down or having to deal with somebody else's jealousy and things like that. And I think that is very much what I've taken away from this community, especially with the BIPOC in TTRPG space, because it's for the most part, we're all here to see each other win, because that means we will win as well. Your win will eventually be is it a potential win for me in the future? And that's great. That's great for everybody.
Oh, it looks like we got a question going off that. I know it's an issue that's sometimes in community base around one part of your identity. You may face microaggressions about other parts of your identity, like sexuality, gender, disability, etc. How do you personally handle that, or what might you tell someone to prepare them for experiencing that? First off, I think all spaces should be intersectional.
Yep.
But that's just me and my queer Latinx self. But what do y'all how do y'all handle those things?
I think it doesn't matter what. Someone's going to bring a great story. It doesn't matter their sexuality, their gender, their disability, their religion or whatnot. Someone's going to bring a great story and make that table even better. Full stop. It doesn't matter. If you want to go, if I ever create a table and get the guts enough to run a game, I want people at my table who could tell great stories. That's it. I don't care about anything else, because that's what's going to make that table amazing. You bring your experience, you bring whatever you want at the table. The worst thing that I think I've seen in TTRPG is when it came to the D&D wheelchair. The most ridiculous thing in the world. You really cannot put up a ramp in your dungeon or your dungeon crawl, or have someone with that, but we're summoning gods.
A level 7 wizard casting fireball, but you can't have an accessibility ramp, my guy. Get out of
here. And dragons, yeah.
Yeah. You could polymorph a big bad into a
A
rat.
fucking hamster. Yeah.
But we're gonna
No
we're gonna
rats.
get all pissed off about
Yeah.
a wheelchair. Like, come on, my
Yeah.
dude.
Like,
Come
are
on.
you joking?
It's the most ridiculous thing. So everyone's experiences makes the table better. It doesn't matter like what it is. It's like you invite them out, invite them to your group. Watch how your table will be that much better.
Yeah,
So-
I think. Go.
I'm
Go
sorry.
on. No, you got it. You got it. You got it.
Okay. So for me, I'm a very intersectional person. Okay. I am Black. I am queer. I am neurodivergent, which found out that that's actually like legally ADHD is a disability, which makes so much sense. So I'm coming to terms with the fact that I am a disabled person, right? Because my brain don't work the way that it should. It should normally.
Yeah.
According to
Wonderful.
society.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna bring myself. I think that's the only thing that you really can do in that situation, right? You can only bring yourself. And if somebody has an issue with a part of you, don't waste your time. Honestly. And I know that may sound really simple. It is that simple. We
Honestly-
complicate it because we internalize it, right? Because
Mhm.
there are microaggressions that are involved. But I have been through enough in my life where it's like if somebody is really making it a point to keep me out for a specific identity of mine, I'm not gonna waste my time. I'm not gonna waste my energy because they are both precious commodities and I can't get those things back.
And they're not paying you. So
And you're not paying me. Like
Yeah.
even if you were paying me and that was a problem, you don't have to because I'll walk away.
Yeah.
You don't have to ever feel bad for being who you are because a lot of the things that we are as you know intersectionally marginalized people is stuff that we don't choose, right? I didn't wake up and I was like, you know what, I would really like today to be the day that my brain just stops working. I would love to not be able to focus or like you know be so overwhelmed with everything that I have to do even though it's not a lot that I end up in bed for the day. I didn't wake up and I was like, you know what, I really want some more melanin today. Please hit me with 2 more shots of oppression. I'd love that. You know, like I'm y'all are laughing, but it's for real.
No,
Like,
laughing
Like, it's
because
real.
absolutely
That's why it's funny.
true. It's so
Yeah, it's
real.
true. It's true.
like nobody does that, right? So don't ever feel guilt for being you. Like, trust me, for every table that tells you you cannot sit there, there are going to be 8 others who are going to welcome you with open arms. Don't compromise yourself just to sit or do something, right? Not even like tabletop. Don't ever like just reduce yourself to be comfortable for somebody else. That's it.
How I personally handle it, I just block those people and move on.
Right.
Like,
Fair.
to Raven's point,
Great.
I don't have the time, energy, or patience to waste on you. And like, this is a general statement because I think like there are some people out there, some underlined, who would be like open to a conversation where it's like, hey, what you said or what you did is not okay, and here are the reasons why. Because I think in some instances there are microaggressions that people don't realize are microaggressions. And so I'm willing to give certain people a little bit of grace, but you could tell those people from the other people who are just being obstinate. And if it's somebody being obstinate, I don't have the time for you. I have a million other things I could be doing rather than waste my time on you. So I'm just going to block you and move on and not think about you for the rest of my life.
And before I go, Calamity, did you want to go?
Oh, I was just honestly, both Raven and Farah kind of said what I wanted to say is that, like, if there is a table that is going to treat you any differently because of any part of your identity, then that's not, you don't want to be at that table. Like, it's, I'm trying to think of like how to word this, but basically, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. If you're going to get into this space, it's so rewarding. So you don't want to get into a space that makes you feel othered, you know? So I would say if you are trying to get into it and any place does make you feel like that, it's not a place for you. They are missing out.
Yeah, and I would say that for all BIPOC creators and LGBTQ as well and everything, you're going to get to a point where you start to question or doubt yourself and whether you're worthy enough. You know, for me, I'm fourth generation Mexican American. I cannot speak Spanish, and I have friends who are straight from the motherland, and I'm like, oh, you know, they're way more Mexican than me. You know, I don't deserve to call myself Mexican or whatever, but that's not the case ever. You know, everyone is worthy, everyone is valid. You know, your experiences are true. Like I always draw my inspiration from my roots, you know, being a Chicano from Phoenix, Arizona, and pulling out those things. So I've gotten to the point now where even for big events, it doesn't matter, or even small events, it doesn't matter, but I always bring out what I love about my culture. You know, I was in like a Greek, you know, inspired setting, you know, for this one like paid game and all that stuff. And I was like, cool, I'm going to be a luchador. And then everyone was like, okay. And then, and it just was super cool. You know, we did it. And then, you know, sometimes I joke around about having Vaporub as the cure-all item, and like people are dope and accept it. You know, it's like, you just bring the things you love, like unabashedly, like have that pride about your culture and be able to shine, you know, as bright as you want to. And it, like everyone said, you know, the people that mind don't matter, and the people that matter don't mind, sort of thing. So
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, what is it?
So a new question just popped up. What is the best part of playing in an all BIPOC table?
Jumping on what D'Angelo said, bringing your culture to that table.
The references, yep.
Yep. I try to, when I play a character and I'm going to make them BIPOC, I actually name them after like my uncles, my cousins, in a way to honor them. The character I play on Philly by Night, Oscar Leon Ponce, is the first name of my uncle who passed away from cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
so it's my way of honoring him.
I love
that. He was a great man. My cousin, I wasn't as close to because he kind of moved out but came back, and it's just something that I do. Like, I want my culture to be in there. I want to get them my game and tell my kids, hey, look, you know, this is what I did and stuff like that. You know, this is how my culture, our culture, are now in these tables they live on, either through a VOD or a YouTube channel. That's what I try to do. Like, I always try to do it through that.
Same, honestly. And this sort of ties into the last question too, because honestly, when it comes to microaggressions at the table, I'm just going to double down on my blackness, like out of spite and pettiness. But I mean, the best part of playing in an all BIPOC table is that ability to just be my authentic self and put aspects of myself into my characters. Like, I'm Black. All of my characters are Black, even if they're not, like, they don't look human, like they are Black coded. In Philly by Night, my character, I'm Haitian. My character is Haitian. I bring that aspect of me as well into my games. Like, it is, I like being at a table where it is safe for me to explore different parts of myself. And I know that I won't, like, there will be no judgment and people will be interested and ask questions about that. Whereas I might not get that in other spaces.
Yeah, just to kind of echo that safety is probably the best part, that space and sort of permission that you don't really have to like ask for, that you might in other spaces. You feel like you kind of have to like dip your toe and say, hey, is this okay to present this part of, you know, my culture into this character? Whereas like at a all BIPOC table, like everyone's just bringing their stories. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah, that was pretty much my point.
I'm going to echo what everybody else has been saying, but like, I've also just been not caring and like bringing all of me everywhere, right? I'm just going, if I'm messy, I'm messy. Like, that's just it.
All my characters are messy because I am messy too.
Right? Like, I'm saying, and like, I've actually really started to implement like doing tribal makeup, specifically for my Eldritch Tide campaign, where I play a half orc. I identify with half orcs because I am multiracial, right? So like, people don't know that like my biological grandmother is Ashkenazi Jew. Like, y'all don't know that, you do now. Hey, but like, I really kind of want to focus on the parts of me that I didn't really get to learn growing up. And so I'm doing that now. So like, yes, I have the braids the house down boots. I got the tribal paint. Like, I am not playing. I don't care. If you are putting me at a table, expect me to be blackety black at all times.
And
Yep.
one thing I do want to bring in as well is, do y'all talk about food a lot more playing in like all BIPOC tables? Because I've noticed that a lot.
Yes.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that we just really bring in food.
I
Yes.
really wish we could on Vampire, but they don't eat. So,
I
but
mean,
if
like,
we
they
right,
feel
yeah.
someone who eats that food, you know?
could-
Well, we
but
did
if
have
we could, I would bring up food at all times.
we did have that blood boba when we did that one shot in Buffalo.
A blood boba? What?
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Blood
here
beer
for
and
it.
blood beer.
It
I'm
was,
gonna have to
it
ask
was
you more about that
pretty
later.
good.
Okay.
It sounded pretty good.
That sounds great.
That's
I
amazing.
mean,
Go ahead.
I haven't really, in some of my games, either on stream or off, like, you know, again, I'm in those sessions with other BIPOC, so yeah, we'll bring up food, like what's your character's favorite food and whatnot. And sometimes I can bring in like aspects of my culture, but sometimes, you know, I'll give that character something different. But it, you know, it is what it. I love talking about food. I think my connection to food and TTRPG space is just like meeting people in real life and having a meal with them, and those are the memories that stick with me. Like Lonzo, for example, last year I got to meet him and a bunch of other people from Rolling D20s and other spaces, and we had like brunch together, and it was fantastic. And it happened at a time in my life that was really hard, and so like that moment really stuck with me and still sticks with me to this day, and it really helped me get through a really difficult time for me. And so it's just like one of those things where it's like we were talking D&D and eating, and it was amazing, and I love it so much.
Yeah, one of the going back to the other question really quick. I always loathe. I appreciate the opportunities, but I also loathe it when it's like we never invite you to anything until it's Hispanic Heritage Month, and then we need a brown guy, and then we'll put you into this project. So I always get so like frustrated with that, and maybe it's because I'm like a double Leo or whatever. But I can never sit back and just like fume. I've got to organize projects, you know. So I'm always like, all right, I'm not going to wait for someone to create an all BIPOC table. I'm going to do it myself, you know, and all kind of stuff. And it's always a situation where knowing going into this that whenever someone sees this is an all BIPOC thing, a lot of people in the industry will be like, oh, I'm not going to pay attention then. I'm not, you know, whatever. And I always got to make sure that we hit everything at like twice or three times as hard as normal, you know, make sure everything is crisp and on point and our jokes land super hard and the story is like super rich. That way, everyone who does sit there and watch, you know, the BIPOC table and, you know, different streams and all that kind of stuff, they will come back to the community and be like, yo, that was like amazing. Like, you guys need to check this out. To never like, you know, anytime we get a chance or an opportunity, we have to like knock it out of the park. And yeah, those are my feelings.
Shout out to TTRPG gifts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Shout out to Robo.
Robo.
We love Robo.
Yes. Well, we've got like about 7 minutes left, so I think this may be a good time. Any last words before we get into outros by chance? I flew, y'all. Like,
Yeah, I flew. I'll say we're here. We ain't going anywhere. You better watch out.
Hey.
Because we're gonna be running things.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey.
that's I would echo that as well, to say like although it may seem like if you feel vulnerable and you feel powerless, that's never ever the situation. You absolutely always have the opportunity to create your own games, create your own spaces, create your own communities, find like-minded people. Like I'm designing my own game, you know, never done it before, doing it first day, 13 hours, got funded on Kickstarter. It's possible, it happens, you know. So don't be afraid to pursue your dreams. Like be the main character of that anime. You were not born on this earth to be a side character. So like, yeah.
I like that.
Oh gosh, love that. Anybody else got any words before we do outros?
One of my favorite quotes is "You are you, and that is your power." And I think that's something you can definitely, if anyone in here is like reluctant to get into things, I've always been reluctant to get into spaces. So I always try to like make sure I say like, just do it, just try. You can go in scared. It's okay. There's people out there who'll be like, you're scared? Well, here, I'll help you out, you know? And you always have something to bring to the table. Your story is unique, and sharing that story is just, it creates connections and just, yeah, so many amazing things. But yeah, just do it anyway if you're scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're scared, just know that like there's a community out there that is more than happy to pull you into the fold and help you with the things that you need in order to be successful. Like, we're all in this together. And so, I mean, there's no reason for us to not help each other.
Exactly.
And I will say what I always say when I end panels. You are enough. You have power. You know who you are, and nobody else can take that from you because that's your power, right? So it's okay to feel bad, like, and don't invalidate your feelings because somebody else may or may not have it worse. Just know that as you move through this world, you are exactly who you are, and nobody, and I mean that, nobody, no matter how hard they try, can ever take that away from you.
You are exactly a person you need to be in any given moment.
That whole
And-
part.
And also, if it helps, remember that if you don't apply for an opportunity or do something, a mediocre white man might do it and do it way less than you. So,
We don't want
keep that in
that.
mind.
Not the big bad.
Yeah.
Need that.
Not the big
I mean,
bad.
Truly,
We don't
if
need that.
anything, let it be pettiness and spite that motivates you. Because I have done that, and look where I am now. I am
Love
talking
that.
on a panel.
Love that.
Petting this
I-
and get you places.
Yeah. All right. On that note, let's go ahead and do outros. Please tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what we can promote and push for you while we're here. Lonzo, you're I think you're first. Yeah.
Okay. Hi. Again, I've been Lonzo Gonzo, pronouns he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Lonzo Gonzo, Twitch at Lonzo Gonzo _, where I'm a variety streamer. You can also find me on Rolling These 20s Saturday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We do Feel It by Night along with Fairbear and a few others. I play Oscar Leon Ponce, Ravnos, Hacker, Kindred, my boss, potentially. You can also find me next on the 13th and 12th of May over at the Free Forge, where we'll be doing charity games for the Color Change. The 12th, I'm doing Among Us. 13th, I am doing God's Blood with our GM, Connie Chang, along with a few others who want to check that out. And thank you for watching.
Thank you. I think the next is fair. My order got wackadoodle, so I'm just going to call on whoever, so be ready.
Yeah, it was me next. You got it. Hi, I'm Fair. You can follow me on Twitter at Fairbear. Saturday nights, you can normally find me over on Rolling These 20s, 9 p.m. Eastern for Philly by Night. We are off tonight, though, I believe. Tuesdays, you can find me over on fortnerd.com at 8:30 p.m. Eastern for Dreadful Tales, which is a Ravenloft anthology D&D game. Next Friday, you can find me over on Sir Jester's channel. Don't ask me what time because I don't remember right now. For a Jasper's Game Day charity one-shot. And I honestly have some other things coming out that have not been announced yet. So absolutely follow me on Twitter. That's where you'll know what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
All right. And I'm going to say it's Calamity. Calamity was the next one? Maybe? I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah. Probably not, but
I
we'll
don't
get to everybody
remember.
eventually.
I don't know. I'm Calamity. You can find me at Prince X Calamity, PRINCEX on all the things. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch is probably where you'll find me the most. I am currently involved in a lot of things. Tonight, actually, in a few hours, is going to be the final episode of Urban Shadows, Trouble in the Second City, which I'm so excited about. This is the second season with just an incredible cast. Raven's part of it. It's going to be wild. It's going to be absolutely wild. So that's going to be on Stella Luna's channel if you want to see that. And also, I got a few games coming up that I'm involved in, and I'm also involved in Emerald Templars as a writer, which I'm so hype about. This is kind of like my first time like officially writing for something, so for a TTRPG specifically. So I'm extremely excited, and also I will. I had a thing. I think I'll double check it. I think on itch.io. I'm Calamity is creating, and starting this month, I'm going to start coming out with my own small projects, my own small games. So follow me on there. And if you can't find me, it's in my bio. Prince X Calamity, you can find it.
Excellent. Raven?
I muted myself. Hi, I'm Raven. You can find me everywhere at Wreck-It Raven. I am the newest cast member on Cantrip Breakers, so we are still kind of in the process of getting that sorted, but be sure to check that out. I'm also on the Eldritch Tide on twitch.tv/Wesselhausen. That is on Mondays at 8 p.m. Every other Wednesday, I do the Fifth Horseman, which I stream on my channel. That's a Monster of the Week campaign. Fridays, I do Mork Borg with Gehenna Gaming. And again, come check out Calamity and I as we wrap up this little second small season of It's Trouble in the Second City. It is Trouble in the Second City. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. Promise you.
All right, and D'Angelo.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this stream. My name is D'Angelo Murillo, and you can find me on Twitter at @_D'Angelo. Like Calamity had said, I created my own tabletop RPG, dark fantasy RPG, called Emerald Templars. That's now on Kickstarter, still in the funding process. We're already funded, and there's a lot of stretch goals that are being met, so backers get a ton of value from it. Please check it out. A lot of wonderful writers are involved with it, and yeah, you can find me on Monday, playing with B. Dave Walters and Dr. B on Jasper's Game Day, raising money for a great charity and doing a lot of other stuff. So please check it out. Thank you again for having me.
And again, I'm Morgan Armo. It's not about me, though. It was about them. Join us in the post-panel chats. That's happening now in Discord. And we'll see you there. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
Bye.